Minecraft. It's fun with friends, unless you're like me and you don't have any friends that play this game nearly as much as you do. But luckily for us, there are random strangers on the internet, or in my case specifically, my YouTube channel members, because this is my channel members server where I play survival Minecraft with a whole bunch of different mods, including the create mod and some others that you can kind of see in JEI here. But don't worry, this isn't just an ad for my channel memberships, but if you do want to, there is a link down in the description. If you, for just a couple bucks a month, you can come play Minecraft with me. But this is also going to be a full series because honestly, I've lost a little bit of steam with Jerryvale, so I've decided to do some episodes on this just because I've been playing on it literally all of the time. I think I already have like 3 full days of playtime on here, which isn't actually that much, I suppose, but it has been less than a month, and I've just been really wanting to spend more time on this. So I was having to like force myself to stop playing on the server to go make a Cherryvale episode, so why not just do both of them at the same time and make an episode while still playing on the server? So that's exactly what I'm gonna do, and that's why I've titled this video Episode 0. Because if you don't play on the server, you're probably a little behind on everything that's happening, and while I'm not gonna do a full server tour here, because I just don't really have enough to say about everything that there is, I am gonna show off some stuff like these amazing mushrooms and these path networks. But mostly I'm gonna go over the progress that I've made just because, well, I know actually what progress I've made, whereas other people, I can like go underground and like look at their stuff, but yeah, I can't really tell you what they're working on or anything, so I'm not gonna try. But I can talk about me all day. So this is my current base, the LimBryn bakery, where I sell bread and croissants, and if you're thinking croissant, oh, someone paid in diamond ore. If you're thinking croissants are actually some modded thing added by this mod that adds a bunch of food, they're not. It's just renamed bread, but like, theoretically that would be a marketing thing, despite the fact that no one has bought a single one, probably because they're twice the price. The problem with my little bread shop is that if we look over just over there on the valley, this is NG's food shop, and he has significantly better food, specifically golden carrots for the same price as my bread, and also honeyed apples for the same price as my croissants. So I've got some pretty steep competition, as in this diamond ore is the first sale I've made in weeks. So my current project is actually going to be to break back into the food market. Problem is, NG is selling 2 of the objectively best foods in the game, and while I could pull another genius marketing stunt, my last one didn't work very well, so I feel like I should try something new, and I am just in luck. So if we look in JI, like I said, we have this food mod, and believe it or not, this adds foods that are significantly better than golden carrots and honeyed apples, and the one I'm specifically going to go for are stuffed pumpkin. And that was going to be the plan for the next episode actually, and this one was just going to be kind of a tour of everything I've made, but honestly, I don't actually have that much stuff. I've got my little starter base over here, and then I have one more thing that's up on this mountain, which is actually where I'd be building the stuffed pumpkin stuff anyway, so I'm just gonna skip right to the chase. So I guess this isn't an episode 0 anymore, this is just episode 1 of whatever I end up calling this. But regardless, we are here, and I probably should have taken nether, it would have been a little bit faster, but this is all I've built so far. I want to build a giant castle on top of this, like, this little valley that's up in the mountain, because it's actually quite a tall mountain, but there's this nice little kind of grove type thing, and so far I have built this one wall and like 2 towers, and I guess there's like 1 building, and one of the other people has moved in and decorated the place. It looks absolutely phenomenal. They used armor stands and stuff, and I love it. But I'm going to be building more of this today, that's the plan at least, and those parts are going to actually be more functional, because this is all aesthetic, and aesthetic things are important, but I would like, parts of this to actually be functional as well. So we're going to start building a little garden type area in this valley somewhere that can grow all of the things that we need for stuffed pumpkins. But before we get to that, let's actually go over what I need to make stuffed pumpkins, because it is a modded thing and you might not know what I'm talking about right off the bat. So there's 2 ways to make this thing. The first one is the non-automatic way, and this is probably the way you would make it if you're, like not doing anything fancy with automatic farming. Pretty much you put a potato, some sweet berries, some rice, some tomato, a brown mushroom, and an onion all in a cooking pot, and the 3 things that you probably don't recognize are all modded, but they all grow just like regular crops, and it takes a while to cook, but eventually it does, and you get a stuffed pumpkin. But this has to be plated on a pumpkin, despite the fact that it was definitely already on a pumpkin there, and you can't eat this unfortunately, but you can place it down, which it looks very nice, and I'll probably use this type of thing for decoration. And then you can use bowls to take some of it, and you can get 4 bowls of stuffed pumpkin from the stuffed pumpkin. So it's, one of all of these resources to 4 actual food items. And the reason this is so good, first of all, it gives you 7 full hunger bars. So if I were to put myself into survival mode right now and give myself, I don't know, just a billion hunger, my hunger will go down. And if we eat one of those, you can actually see its food value. And this thing is insane. And it gives me this status effect called nourishment, which means my hunger and saturation don't go down for I think it's 5 minutes, which is absolutely just completely overpowered. So this is by far the best food in the game and will easily outshine the golden carrots and honeyed apples. But of course, this is not the way we're actually going to make it, because that is really slow. You can automate this with the create mod use. Get a basin, blaze burner, and a mixer. And if I throw one of each ingredient in, it will mix and we'll get the exact same thing, a stuffed pumpkin. And obviously this is a lot faster and, a lot easier because I can fully automate it. So we have this system, and all I need to do is make an automatic farm for all of the ingredients. Which brings us back here to the survival world. And for now, I'm not actually going to build the functional farms yet. They're going to go somewhere in this area because it's the only real even possibly arable land in this giant icy mountain. But before I get to the actual functional things, I'm just going to build something that looks good. So I'm going to go ahead, build a little garden that has all the crops we need, and we'll make them work later. Oh, and we're going to do it in a time lapse. So let's go ahead and jump into that. Damn, I forgot how much I love building in this style. I haven't done it in so long, and I know it's like the pumpkin spice latte of Minecraft building styles, the spruce and stone type thing, but it's just so good. I haven't done it in just such a long time, if you exclude the little bit of this wall that I had built. But this is quite a bit more of a substantial structure. We've got a much bigger building than the little guardhouse over there. Got this nice retaining wall that turned out really well, I think. Other than this, I don't really know what happened here. I guess I just forgot to put blocks above this dirt. There we go, fixed it. But the important part about this build is that it has all of the crops, except actually one that we need to make stuffed pumpkin. We'll get into why we don't have that one in a second, but we've got the pumpkins, of course. We've got tomatoes, sweet berries, potatoes, onions, and in the interior of this build, we have some mushrooms. This is a modded way to get mushrooms, but these are mushroom colonies, and if you break one of them, you get 5 mushrooms, then you can plant it again. And because this is planted on rich soil, it will grow into a mushroom colony. And that's actually the other part of this interior, is this weird little thing. It's a thing that gets you rich soil, because rich soil is super annoying to get. You have to make this thing called organic compost, which is a little bit of a wacky crafting recipe, and then you have to just leave it out for enough time to turn into rich soil, and that's what this little machine does. I won't get too into it, but you put compost in here, it turns it into rich soil. But now back to why we don't have the last crop, that being rice, and it's kind of just because it didn't look good thematically. So rice has to be planted in 1 block of standing water, and since we're in a really cold environment, while that water wouldn't actually freeze because it has rice in it, and any waterlogged bit of water doesn't freeze, luckily enough for me, because there's actually a bunch of waterlogged blocks underground here, but it just wouldn't look very good to just have an open pool of water, because realistically it would freeze even if it won't actually in the game. So I kind of don't want to do it. I did come up with a couple ideas for a way to get away with having a little puddle of water, make a well, and then beneath that well there's a cave with water in it, and there's rice in the water in the cave. But if I'm gonna put it in an underground cave, I may as well just put it underground and not make anything fancy for it, because I'm not going to really be able to see said underwell cave type thing. So I'm just going to hide it away beneath the surface, which will look just fine. And then the rest of these crops will actually just be fully functional. We'll make a little system that harvests all of the stuff from beneath the ground. It will be completely invisible, except for pumpkins. Pumpkins are really annoying. You can't actually make a completely invisible system that harvests them, because the way that these ones work is you put a harvester underground that's kind of like phased into the block, and then you push it up really briefly and it harvests them, and it works great. But you can't do the same thing with pumpkins because they don't get harvested by a harvester because they're a full block. And full blocks need to be drilled by drills, and drills aren't instant, so pushing them up with a piston just doesn't work. And I tried a couple different things to get it to like function and still be completely invisible, and nothing worked. So we're just going to make another underground farm that the pumpkins can grow in. Now, normally I would go design all this stuff in a creative world, like make a creative copy of this world and then like build the stuff, make a schematic of it, and build it with the schematic cannon. Pretty sure those berries just broke my boots. Don't think that's possible. But first of all, it takes like an hour to download this world because I can't figure out how to put it into a zip file. And also, I don't really need to design it, partially because I've already built it, but the system that I've already built is actually really simple, and I've built it before. And you might be asking, what system? There's nothing here, and that's a valid question. But if I grab my wrench here and pick up this minecart and we put it down just a block lower, you'll see there's a lot of harvesters, and when this is one block higher, all of these harvesters are inside of the farmland blocks that all of these crops are sitting on, so it makes for a fully invisible system. And then, once you're ready to harvest, all you have to do is flip this switch. It pushes the harvesters up, which harvests the crops, and then you unflip it, pulls this back down, and it's completely invisible again, but all the crops are harvested. And you might notice that some of these crops are growing like ridiculously fast, and that's because they're on rich soil. And you see those particle effects means that it's making the crops grow really fast, which is why I can kind of get away with having such a small crop field for my entire stuffed pumpkin farm. But if we look in here, we have a lot of crops, and honestly I've harvested more than just that once, which is why there's so many, but it works really well. And now all I have to do to actually finish up this system is do the sorting part. I've put in 5 different portable storage interfaces, one for each of the 5 different crops that we have here, but it does require a little bit more sorting than just that, because obviously each one of these will output the corresponding crop, and then those will go into big storage vaults. But 2 of these crops are annoying, namely potatoes and tomatoes. You can get rotten tomatoes and poisonous potatoes. And as you might guess, neither of those can be used for making stuffed pumpkins, so I pretty much just have to throw them out. Although I'll probably keep the tomatoes, because while I didn't get any, the rotten tomatoes are projectiles. You can throw them, and I think that has good potential on a server. I mean, I could sell them if I don't have any use for them, and I am sure people would buy rotten tomatoes, because who doesn't love throwing fruit at each other? But the poisonous potato is definitely getting trashed, so I'll have to implement that entire sorting system. But before I do, I want to go ahead and make item vaults for all 5 of these items. And item vaults require iron sheets, and iron sheets are made by pressing iron, and my press is kind of slow. And I need like 10 stacks of this stuff, so I'm going to go ahead and do that in between episodes. Also, yeah, in between clips there, we went and beat the Ender Dragon on the server, so I have an Elytra now. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and end this one here. Before we do, we've got some channel member shoutouts to do. So, thanks to Nami, Local Wi-Fi, Dutch Caffeine, Gummy Eater 365, Nguyen, the 3D Gamers, Rain 2.0, Algaman, and Nick for being channel members. And also, some of these channel members are now like have been channel members for a month, which is crazy. But anyway, if you want to become a channel member, play on this server with me, as well as gain access to the community Discord server. It's just $5 a month. There is a link down in the description below if you want to join. But for now, hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.